All right, that brings us to our final conversation of this afternoon program. Thank you all for sticking around with us. I'm really thrilled to have these guests come out. I'm going to be turning things over to Kaya Henderson. Kaya is the CEO and co-founder of Reconstruction. Yes, which is a technology company delivering supplemental curriculum that spotlights Black people, culture, and contributions for students of all backgrounds to have a more complete understanding of our history. She does incredible work, and she's going to be joined on stage by Van Jones. Van is a U.S. media personality. You know him from CNN. He's an Emmy Award-winning producer and a three-time New York Times bestselling author. He worked in the Obama White House as a special advisor for green jobs, formerly the CEO of the Reform Alliance, which is an initiative to transform the criminal justice system. He's also the founder of Dream Machine Innovation Lab, which is an organization building networks to reshape democracy and disrupt systems that lead to excess prisons, poverty, pollution, and polarization. And they have an initiative in partnership with will.i.am called Make Wakanda Real, about making EdTech accessible to lower-income communities and populations of color, and leveraging AI for creativity and entrepreneurship. They do really incredible work. We're really thrilled to have him here. And so without further ado, here for a fireside chat, please give it up for Kaya and Van.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm super excited to
Wait.
Uh-oh.
Was Common sitting here?
I think they changed out the chairs.
Oh. That's my bro. Love Common.
We are super excited to be here and to be in conversation with the one and only Van Jones. I said, Van, to my friends, I'm interviewing Van Jones. And one of my friends said, oh yeah, he's the green jobs guy. And another friend was like, no, he does criminal justice reform. And another friend was like, no, I think he's doing tech now. So what are you doing and why are you doing it?
That comes from just living a long time.
Uh-huh.
I was born in 1968. A few Xers. It was the year they killed Bobby Kennedy. It was the year they killed Dr. King. They were trying to kill hope in America, I guess, and I've been wanting to bring that back my whole life. I grew up on the edge of a small town in rural West Tennessee. My father was born in segregation and poverty, 1944 in Orange Mound, Memphis. He grew up in a shotgun shack on Cable Street, and he joined the military to get out of poverty. And when he got out, he put his little brother through college. He put his cousin through college. Basically, everybody in my family that got out of poverty on this bridge called my father's back. Mm-hmm. And when he died, the picture they put on the funeral program for my father was a picture of him standing in front of Yale Law School the day I graduated, with his hands in the air. Mm-hmm. And so I have been trying to chase my dad down. My dad helped so many people. He was an educator. When he died, there were Black and white folks all wrapped around the church to tell him goodbye. And I think, how am I ever he helped so many people starting with literally nothing. And here I am with a Yale Law degree. I taught at Princeton. I'm an MIT Media Lab grad. How do I do a percentage of what he did? But given what he had and what he did, and what he gave me, what can I do? And so I've spent the past 30 years trying to help the people who came from the same place that my dad came from. People who don't have much, people who are overlooked, people who are underestimated. And so I started off with police and prisons, because I was a young Black kid in 1993, Rodney King had just gone down. I'm a young Black kid with dreadlocks. I felt like I was a target of the police and prison system. And from there, I got burned out, working in Oakland, trying to help the youth there, youth violence issues. You go to a lot of funerals. With kids in the caskets. And I did that for about 10 years. I couldn't handle it. And those of you who work in these tough neighborhoods and and lose kids, and I don't know how you do it. I couldn't handle it, and I literally had a breakdown, and I tried to figure out another way to help, and because I was in California, I wound up with this little project that really was supposed to save the kids. It really saved me. We got the Oakland City Council to help kids coming out of jail get jobs putting up solar panels. We had just passed all this legislation in California to put solar panels every place, but there were no workers. So people were ordering solar panels, and 6 months later still had nothing on their house. I said, well, this is the most important work that needs to be done. Let's give it to the kids who most need work. Let's fight pollution and poverty at the same time. And what happened was the pictures of these black and brown children on the rooftops, putting up solar panels, and so excited about what they were doing, went all around the world. And a young lady named Nancy Pelosi, who had just become—
Never heard of her.
Never heard of her. Young lady, look her up, Google her. She had just become Speaker of the House the first time in 2007. She took me by the hand to Washington, D.C., and had me testify in front of every one of her committees about what we were doing in Oakland. And a guy named George W. Bush got excited, and he signed a bill called the Green Jobs Act of 2007 to spread that program across the country. The next year, I wrote a book about it, 2008, called The Green Collar Economy, and a guy named Barack Obama read the book.
My forever president.
Yeah, he's still president. And he had me come to Washington, D.C. in 2009 to help him implement those ideas. We went from having a little $100,000 program in Oakland to having an $80 billion program at the federal government he asked me to run.
Clap for that.
So I've just tried to follow where the hope is. That's what I've tried to do. And that's why I'm here today. I feel hope with this new technology and the things that people are trying to be innovative about and bring solutions forward to. And now I'm in my mid-50s. I do not understand these young people at all. I've got 4 kids. Each one of them is weirder to me. And so I'm just here once again. If prison reform was hopeful, I was there. Solar panels. I got an Emmy using virtual reality, trying to help solve problems. I just want to use whatever we can to help these kids, because that's what my dad would have done.
Tell me, that's right. Tell me about Dream Machine.
So we built an organization called Dream.org, which is an unbelievable organization that brings Republicans and Democrats together to solve tough problems. We got a bunch of criminal justice stuff done, a bunch of bipartisan climate stuff done. But I started getting nervous. Bipartisan solutions assume that government is the answer. So if we build an organization that's about bipartisan solutions, that's good, but what if the problem's bigger? What if it's culture? What if it's a spiritual crisis? What if it's a crisis of the soul? What if it's a civilizational crisis? I told you I've got little kids. They're going to grow up in a different human civilization than I grew up in. I've got a little girl who's 2 years old. Her first crush is probably going to be an AI. It's probably going to be an AI. That's weird. How do I parent that? When it's time for her to have grandkids for us, she may open up a laptop or go on some kind of holographic interface and use biotechnology to design my grandchildren. She might be buried, God forbid, in 80, 90, 100 years on the moon or Mars. We'll be a fully spacefaring civilization. Are we ready for that? I see a society with an awful lot of data, very little wisdom. And so I want I wanted to spin off from dream.org, because they're still doing amazing work in the government space, but I wanted to build a new organization that could try to span even bigger divides and bring people together for good. And so dreammachine.org is our effort to take what we learned in 15 years in government out into the cultural space, out into the technology space, out into the spiritual space, and see if we can't bring people together for good through that.
Tell us what that looks like.
Well, the thing I'm most excited about is we launched a campaign with will.i.am. And the campaign, I assume I'm among fellow nerds. So if I'm not, forgive me, but you guys know the Marvel superhero world? Okay, so the campaign is called Make Wakanda Real. Make Wakanda Real. Now, those of you who are not nerds, in the Marvel superhero universe, the most technologically advanced
Society,
period, is in Africa. And it's called Wakanda. And it is a heroic nation. They honor their ancestors. They use plant medicine. There's a lot of stuff going on. And it's a hopeful idea, because I am scared of us scaring Black and brown communities about technology. I am tired of hearing only negative things about artificial intelligence. I'm tired of hearing only negative things about technology. It's going to be racially biased algorithms, racist robots, going to take your job, and you're going to be worse off. Well, listen, our communities, we're so traumatized and triggered, and we've been hurt so badly so often, we're very threat sensitive. So if you keep saying that to us, we're going to back away from it and assume it's going to be something we shouldn't engage with. And Dr. King was correct in saying he did want equal protection from bad stuff. We do want equal protection from these algorithms that may get out of hand or may discriminate against us. We want equal protection from bad stuff. But Dr. King also said we want equal opportunity and equal access to good stuff too. There's good stuff that's coming. This technology could be a great divider or it could be a great equalizer. And right now, people keep telling me, well, Van Jones, you run this Make Wakanda Real campaign with will.i.am, and you're trying to get these Black kids engaged, but these Black kids don't know anything about AI. 99% of these Black kids don't know anything about AI. I said, you know what, you're correct. And 99% of white kids don't either. Nobody does. It's new. This is called equality. We are all equally ignorant about this stuff. So why scare my kids off? Why tell them it's going to be bad for them? Everybody's equally ignorant now. You're not founding in this moment a new company only. You're not founding in this moment a new VC firm only. You are co-founding a new human civilization. That's what you're doing. You are co-founding a new human civilization. Will it be more human? And will it be civilized? That's my question. And so I come with a great deal of humility and hope before the technology community and say, if you're going to disrupt everything, that's what the AI companies say. This is the most disruptive technology since water, fire, the most disruptive. Okay, if you're going to disrupt everything, can you disrupt poverty?
Disrupt racism.
Can you disrupt racism? Can you disrupt pollution? Can you disrupt polarization? If you're going to disrupt something, because see, now we need each other. The communities that we care about have a purpose. They need these systems to change. These systems aren't working. Our education system isn't working the way that it should. Our healthcare isn't working the way that it should. So we have a purpose in seeking disruption, but we don't have enough power by ourselves. On the other hand, some people in technology, they got the power to disrupt everything, but what's your purpose? just greed and speed. Greed and speed. You want to disrupt as fast as possible, make as much money as possible, but you have no purpose you can articulate besides just wanting to beat the other AI company or wanting to beat China. So hold on a second now. What if we took the people who have the power to disrupt and had them hold hands with the people who have the purpose in disruption? Now you're bringing together the heart and the smart. You're bringing together the people who've been left out of everything else. And we might do extraordinary things. I was just talking to a brother who has a technology to take song lyrics and use them as the core for a whole curriculum to teach literacy. So he's taking the culture from the young people, using AI to better empower the teachers to help everybody. That's a beautiful use of AI. We don't hear about that. This is what's available. And I believe that, this Make Wakanda Real campaign, and by the way, will.i.am is our patron saint. He's the person who was talking about AI to black people 10 years ago, and we said, this Negro crazy. We don't know what you're talking about. And now he's got an AI company. He's invited to all the big stuff. And I've been trying to tell you guys. We had will.i.am come to our event in Los Angeles, and he got on stage and he brought out his phone, and his phone had an AI in it. And he started arguing with the AI, and the AI was bad. The AI was, they were absolutely, and people were just awestruck that here's a brother who is in the leading edge of culture and technology. And that gives you, an opportunity. So I believe that if we play our cards right, there can be a new covenant between the AI companies and black and brown communities, a new covenant, and the guiding star should be to make Wakanda real.
I love it. I love it. You highlight that we have to do this work together.
Yes.
And you talk about building networks from the streets to the suites to elites. How do we merge financial power, cultural power, political power, economic power to get the right people in the room to do the heart and smart stuff?
Well, part of it is recognizing how much power the powerless already have. You think about, say, the black community right now. We have a lot of problems, granted. But we got a lot of power too.
We sure do.
If you do the math, this might be the peak of black political power. We have a black vice president, 4 black senators, 4. The governor of Maryland, right next door to DC, is Wes Moore, who's black. Hakeem Jeffries is probably going to be the Speaker of the House. He's black. The top 10 cities in America by population, 7 have black mayors. The Congressional Black Caucus, the biggest caucus in the House of Representatives. You have tremendous political power. Number 2, culturally. Y'all may not have noticed this, but black people are like the Supreme Court of culture on planet Earth.
Period.
Okay? Like,
Period.
If we say it's cool in South Korea. Beyonce just took over country music. I mean, we are...
Took back
country music. And was nice about it, too. Very generous. Included Dolly in the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's power.
Yeah.
That's power. And spiritually, ethically. Now, we have our shadow side like everybody else, but the spiritual part, the black church, civil rights, very few peers on the planet. Now, what does AI need? It needs government to support it. We have political power. It needs cultural adoption. We run the culture. And it needs high ethics and values. And we have something to say about that, too. So I'm looking for partnership, not pity. Partnership, not pity. If we're going to shape this world together, you bring something to the table, we bring something to the table, the indigenous people bring something to the table. Everybody should get a chance to come to the table now with what they bring in their beauty, in their strength, in their dignity, in their highest offering, because we are building a civilization for our children and our grandchildren that will, either destroy the whole world and we'll have a crazy war-torn, bot and drone hellscape here, or it could be paradise. We have that ability. And so part of what we're doing with the Make Wakanda Real campaign is we're approaching AI companies and saying, hey, can we talk? Now, usually these tech companies are people coming up and saying, you're racist, you're terrible, you're awful. It's like, y'all brand new.
Right.
We don't know what you are, and you don't either. So let's make you beautiful.
Yes.
Let's make you a blessing on the earth. And let's have that conversation. We think you're great and could be greater with our partnership.
Yes, co-creation.
Let's co-create and co-author a future that's better for everybody. And look, if that doesn't work, I guess we got to go protest. But ain't y'all tired of that though? Like I would rather for us to love each other and help each other.
How's it going? What has been the response of these companies?
Bewilderment. They're very curious. They're first of all, they're shocked that things are going so well for them anyway. Don't forget that these large language models, like this stuff was written off 5 or 6 years ago. This was not even the right pathway for artificial intelligence until very recently. And so the people who are now winning, they're like, we're winning? This stuff is working? So they're a little bit stunned by themselves. And so I think that's so important when you pull back that curtain on the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
It's often just a little scared person standing there. And so we're finding a lot of that, like people who are just now themselves understanding what they have. And so it's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful moment for setting the table the right way. Nobody has said no.
Amen.
Nobody has said no so far.
The theme for the conference is Here Comes the Sun.
Yeah.
We are focused on hope and solutions and creativity and seeing beyond the barriers of technology to imagining something that is possible. And so as we think about a group of people who are educating our children, who are developing tools and technologies that help our children and our educators, people who are funding companies and funding organizations, the people in this room and at this conference, what piece of hope do you have for them as they leave here and go out into the world? A world that will tell them, they work in schools that tell them, we don't have an AI policy, you can't do that, or we're not ready for that, or whatever. And these people are at least here to learn.
That's right.
So what hopeful thing do you have to tell them? And what can they do to support the work that you are doing as we build Wakanda for real?
Yeah, for real, for real. Well, first I would say, dreammachine.org. Dreammachine.org is our website, and you can go there and sign up, and we'll pull you right in, let you know what we're doing. June 15th in Atlanta, we're going to do a big AI Opportunity Summit. Love for you to come, love for you to be a part of it. We're literally, people are just now finding each other all across the country, people who want to use the technology for good. So we're going to do this Opportunity Summit. Next year, we want to do a World's Fair for AI and young people who may not be introduced to this the right way. So we're going to be doing a lot. But honestly, I would say most of the people here, you've been weird your whole life.
Speak for yourself.
I just want to, it's almost certainly the case that if you're still here this late, you didn't leave early. Because Common's already gone, so I know that took out about half the room right there. You've been weird your whole life. You felt at a very young age that you there was something calling you. You were more sensitive than most of your cousins. Your cousins could watch horror movies. You couldn't. You run out the room, right? You've always been a little different. And thank God. Thank God. Because you're pre-adapted. You came early to help these kids. You came early. You're pre-adapted for the changes that are coming. It's got to be heart-led. Our head has gotten us in a lot of trouble. So those of you who are both smart and you have the heart, that's the key. And you're going to come up against a lot of heartful people who are dumb. And you come up against a lot of smart people who are mean. And you have to walk that middle path for these kids. And it's not easy, but it's necessary. It's necessary. And, you know, I just want to, trust me, people are going to thank you, not you by name, but people are going to thank this movement that you're a part of because you're willing to try. People have given up on these kids and you know it. People are cashing out on this technology for their own purpose and you know it. There's a lot of abandonment that's happening, a lot of tribalism that's happening, and you don't feel comfortable with that. For some reason, you still want to help these damn kids. These kids are terrible. These kids are terrible. They are hard to deal with. But you still want to help them. Everybody wants to run to their corners and blame somebody else, and you don't like that. You don't feel comfortable with that. You know, there's some good Democrats, some good Republicans, some good white folks, some good black. Like you don't feel comfortable with all this nonsense that's going on, and you can feel very alone, and you can feel very frustrated. You can feel very isolated. But it's just because you're first. To lead means to go first. You're the path breakers. You're the people who, if anybody's going to get it figured out, it's going to be you guys. To use this technology for good, to bring the best out in this next generation, to make a workable future possible. That's up to you. And I would just encourage you, don't think that you're as small as you feel. There's a lot of us now. People are starting to come out the woodwork. I don't agree with this stuff. I don't agree with this stuff. That's not right. I don't want to be a part of that. People are disassociating from political parties and everything else. People changing religions and leaving their spouse. There's a lot of stuff happening. My hope and my prayer is that we can find each other and that we can create a third way out from the polarization, a third way out from either, exploiting people or abandoning people, a third way out. And, make Wakanda real.
Join me in thanking Van for inspiration, for hope, for love. And let's make Wakanda real.
Thank you. All righty. That's good.